Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Welcome to this morning's Bhagavatam class. It's from Canto 3, Status Quo, Chapter 2, Remembrance of Lord Krishna. And this morning we're doing text 15. So without further ado, we'll start the class. Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopiya Vallabha Girivadadari Gopiya Vallabha Girivadadari Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Jamunatira Vanachari Jamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Gopi Janavallabha Girivadadari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivadadari Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Jamunatira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari 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 Jaya Om Vishnu Pad Paramhansa Parivajikacharya Astottara Satasisi Maharaj Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramhansa Parivajikacharya Astottara Satasisi Maharaj Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय Shri Radha Krishna Gopina Shyam Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Mathura Dham Ki Jai. Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Swami Ki Jai. Ganga Mayi Ki Jai. Jamuna Mayi Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Hare Krishna Mahamantra Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the lotus feet of Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga Krishna Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Tirtha Swami Namani. Namaste Krishna Padaya Prabhupada Siddharthane Sri Gaura Karuna Shakti Bhakti Tirtha Namani. Narayana Namaskritya Narum Chevam Naruttamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayat Nashtapaiswa Bhadresu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamastuke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 2, Text 15. Sva-śānta-rūpeṣv itaraiḥ abhyardyamāneṣv anukampitātmā parāvareśo mahad-aṁśa-yukto jāto bhagavān yathāgniḥ sva-śānta-rūpeṣv itaraiḥ sva-rūpair abhyardyamāneṣv anukampitātmā parāvareśo mahad-aṁśa-yukto jāto bhagavān yathāgniḥ sva-śānta-rūpeṣv itaraiḥ sva-rūpair abhyardyamāneṣv anukampitātmā parāvareśo mahad-aṁśa-yukto jāto bhagavān yathāgniḥ. Hare Krishna.
sva-śānta-rūpeṣv itaraiḥ abhyardyamāneṣv anukampitātmā parāvareśo mahad-aṁśa-yukto jāto bhagavān yathāgniḥ. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
sva-śānta-rūpeṣv itaraiḥ abhyardyamāneṣv anukampitātmā parāvareśo mahad-aṁśa-yukto jāto bhagavān yathāgniḥ. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. sva-śānta-rūpeṣv itaraiḥ abhyardyamāneṣv anukampitātmā parāvareśo mahad-aṁśa-yukto jāto bhagavān yathāgniḥ. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else? All right. Word for word. Sva-śānta-rūpeṣv unto the peaceful devotees of the Lord. Itaraiḥ others, non-devotees. Sva-rūpair according to their own modes of nature. Abhyardyamāneṣv being harassed by. Anukampitātmā the all-compassionate Lord. Parāvareśo spiritual and material. Isha, controller, mahad-aṁśa-yukto, accompanied by the plenary portion of the mahat-tattva. He, certainly, ajaha, the unborn, api, although, jāta is born, bhagavān, the personality of Godhead, yatha, as if, agni, the fire. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The personality of Godhead, the all-compassionate controller of both the spiritual and material creations, is unborn. But when there is friction between his peaceful devotees and the persons who are in the material modes of nature, he takes birth just like fire, accompanied by the mahat-tattva. Report by Srila Prabhupada. The devotees of the Lord are by nature peaceful because they have no material hankering. A liberated soul has no hankering, and therefore he has no lamentation. One who wants to possess also laments when he loses his possession. Devotees have no hankerings for material possessions and no hankerings for spiritual salvation. They are situated in the transcendental loving service of the Lord as a matter of duty, and they do not mind where they are or how they have to act. Karmis, jnanis, and yogis all hanker to possess some material or spiritual assets. Karmis want material possessions. Jnanis and yogis want spiritual possessions. But devotees do not want any material or spiritual assets. They only want to serve the Lord anywhere in the material or spiritual world that the Lord desires. And the Lord is always specifically compassionate towards such devotees. The karmis, jnanis, and yogis have their particular mentalities in the modes of nature, and therefore they are called itaraiḥ, or non-devotees. These itaraiḥs, including even the yogis, sometimes harass the devotees of the Lord. Durvasa Muni, a great yogi, harassed Maharaj Ambarish because the latter was a great devotee of the Lord. And the great karmi and jnani Hiranyakashipu even harassed his own Vaishnava son Prahlad Maharaj. There are many instances of such harassment of the peaceful devotees by the Lord, by the itaraiḥs. When such friction takes place, the Lord, out of his great compassion towards his pure devotees, appears in person, accompanied by his plenary portions, controlling the mahat-tattva. The Lord is everywhere, in both the material and spiritual domains, and he appears for the sake of his devotees when there is friction between his devotee and the non-devotee. As electricity is generated by friction of matter anywhere and everywhere, the Lord, being all-pervading, appears because of the friction of devotees and non-devotees. When Lord Krishna appears on a mission, all his plenary portions accompany him. When he appeared as the son of Vasudeva, there were differences of opinion about his incarnation. Some said he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Some said he's an incarnation of Narayan. And others said he's the incarnation of Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. But actually, he is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna's two bhagavān Swayam. And Narayan, the Purushas, and all other incarnations accompany him to function as different parts of his pastimes. Mahad-aṁśa-yukto indicates that he is accompanied by the Purushas who create the mahat-tattva. It is confirmed in the Vedic hymns, Mahantam Vibhum Atmanam. When Lord Krishna appeared, just like electricity, when there was friction between Kansa and Vasudeva and Ugrasen. Vasudeva and Ugrasen were the Lord's devotees, and Kansa, a representative of the karmis and jnanis, was a non-devotee. Krishna, as he is compared to the sun. He first appeared from the ocean of the womb of Devaki, and gradually he satisfied the inhabitants of the places surrounding Mathura, just as the sun enlivens the lotus flower in the morning. After gradually rising to the meridian of Dwarka, the Lord set like the sun, placing everything in darkness, as described by Uddhava. Oma Gena Turandasya Gyana Gena Shalakaya Chakshu Amritam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshnaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Tinamini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatarini Namo Mahabharanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namni Bhurati Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Ram Hare Hare. So, the English translation again. The personality of Godhead, the all-compassionate controller of both the spiritual and material creations, is unborn. But when there is friction between his peaceful devotees and persons who are in the material modes of nature, he takes birth just like fire, accompanied by the mahat-tattva. Hare Krishna. So this is Uddhava speaking. Uddhava has been questioned in a wonderful way by Vidura, who is taking pilgrimage, who's on pilgrimage, leaving Hastinapur because of disturbances there. So after he met Uddhava, he questioned Uddhava about all of the relatives, his own relatives, and Krishna's relatives, who's in Dwarka, and then about Krishna himself. And when he questioned about Krishna, then Uddhava went into ecstasy. For a while, he didn't speak. It's like visiting the spiritual world. The memories about his relationship with Krishna came flooding back into his mind. And then when he came to, again, his physical or his mental being stabilized this time in the material realm, then he began to speak about Krishna. And so this text is one of the statements made by Uddhava. And very nice statement about Krishna's power and what Krishna does. And the different expansions of Krishna, especially the Purush avatars. So the translation again, the personality of Godhead, the all-compassionate controller of both the spiritual and material creation, is unborn. But when there is friction between his peaceful devotees and persons who are in the modes of material nature, then he takes birth just like fire, accompanied by his plenary portions, controlling the mahat-tattva. When there is friction between his peaceful devotees and persons who are in the modes of material nature, so that friction happens in the material energy. And then he takes birth to deal with that situation. So the Lord is all compassionate. This is the first thing that Uddhava talks about in describing Krishna. He says, Krishna, personality of Godhead, Ishvara Parama Krishna. The supreme controller is Krishna. So he's all compassionate. So he's concerned about the welfare of his devotees at all times. Anyone who says yes to Krishna gets Krishna's compassion, feels Krishna's compassion in their lives, one way or another. It always happens. The Lord arranges like that for the devotees' benefit. To say yes to Krishna, as His Holiness Radha Govinda Maharaj explained the other day in answer to a question, he said that everyone that said yes to Krishna is going back to the spiritual world. You don't say yes to Krishna and stay in the material world forever. We are not Nichabhadas. Once we say yes to Krishna, we believe in Krishna, then Krishna, out of his compassion, same compassion, makes arrangement for us to go back. So whether the devotee right now is initiated or the devotee is not initiated, they will go back to the spiritual world because Krishna will make the arrangement for that person to go back to the spiritual world. In other words, all the requirements that need to be made, Krishna will arrange to make that available to that person so that they can go back to the spiritual world. So if Krishna would do that, then it calls to reason, or the conclusion can be made that Krishna wants those who say yes to him to go back to the spiritual world. Otherwise, he won't make such arrangements. But he also knows that we're conditioned, and therefore he have to prepare to go back to the spiritual world, first by taking the conditioning mentality that we have in the material world out. In this process of purification, and also the mercy component, because we're not perfect and we're most likely not going to be perfect, the mercy component is also added. Mercy from his representative, the spiritual master, the mercy from the parampara, the disciplic succession of spiritual masters, and then a mercy from the Lord himself as Paramatma. There is also mercy from Krishna himself when he comes to perform his pastimes, because that is also a different kind of mercy, making us excited about him and about what he does by giving us just a small amount of what we can contain in our minds and getting us excited. And then we say, because there's things that we like. People would like to go for what they like. So the pastimes are so, so wonderful. Then the question becomes, why not go? You have to understand we can participate in those pastimes, but we have to go home. And that gives us the impetus to do our part in preparation to go. So everybody that said yes to Krishna will go back to Godhead, either in this body or Krishna would arrange for the next life to be such that that person, that soul, will come even closer to him, and therefore be prepared to go back to Godhead. The Hare Krishna mantra will be around for quite a while. The Kali Yuga is the age where the mantra, just reciting a mantra, gets us close to the Lord. In other ages, the process of connecting with the Supreme Personality of Godhead is quite extensive, and in some cases, it's even expensive. Only wealthy people can do it. It's extensive, especially in Satyayuga when you have to meditate. Some people meditate 60,000 years. Lifetime is 100,000 years. And that much time is used in meditating on the Lord. Treta Yuga, you have to perform sacrifices, yagya. And only the wealthy people could do that. In Treta Yuga, in Dwapara Yuga, there's deity worship. But the deity worship is also done in a very, very elaborate way. We are still allowed to do deity worship in this yuga, but depending on the financial standing of the temple or even of the persons, if they have deities at their home, then they're able to. So that means there's some mercy built in here, compassion built in to the service of that particular service, worshipping of a deity. But then in Kali Yuga, the main yagya, worship, the main sacrifice is chanting the holy name of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hari Rama, Rama Rama, Hari Hari. That's the main thing. That's why when any person that's new comes to the temple, we don't talk about rules. Do this, don't do this, don't do this. They've lived a kami life, and to adjust to a different lifestyle is difficult because there's some things that people are addicted to. And if somebody's addicted to cigarettes, you tell them drop it tonight because you have come to the temple route. That's going to be difficult for them. They may not smoke inside the temple, but giving it up overnight is difficult. But chanting the holy name can be done even by a 2-year-old. So that's immediately taken, the Hare Krishna mantra. But that happens also to be the mantra that takes us back to the spiritual world. In everything that we do in Kali Yuga, we have to add the chanting of the holy name to it. That's a special concession for us, those in the material world now, in this Kali Yuga, that have said yes to Krishna. Krishna, through the Paramatma, the Super Soul, prompts us in so many things that we are weak in, so many things that stop us from growing spiritually. Every single individual has the messages given to them. It's not like we even ask for it. Krishna arranges through the Super Soul to bring out the things that we need to work on to us. Sometimes it may be someone in temple management that sees it and has a talk and explains a few things. Yes, happens in our temple with the current temple president quite a bit, which is extremely helpful to people. And even now she's helping other disciples of Chandamali Swami. So, again, the credit goes to Srila Prabhupada, whose disciple is Bhakti Maharaj, like that, and disciples has trained her, and this time she's using that advantage, what she's learned, to teach the Vigyan part, the practical application part. That's what's lacking in ISKCON, the practical application of devotee life. So it's not enough to know just the Shastra, but how to apply it and why you should apply it at certain times and why not at other times. That takes experience. That takes somebody who understands it or been trained well to impart that kind of knowledge. So fortunately, that's going on. So for us, the advantage is there. Huge advantage compared to the rest of the population of the earth. Go back to Godhead. All of the problems that we have in the material world are put to rest once a person makes it back to Godhead. Those problems don't exist. The compassion of the Lord makes sure that that is gone. The Lord himself is unborn. And Lord Brahma also confirms that. The Uddhava is saying it. Lord Brahma also says, Ishwar Paramakrishna, Satchidananda Vigraha, Anadi Adi. Anadi Adi Govinda. Govinda is another name for Krishna. He is the source of everything. He also says it in Bhagavad Gita, Hamsa Vasa Pavava. He's the source of everything. But no one, he didn't come from some other source. He is unborn. He has no beginning in that sense, because everybody that's born has a beginning. We call it a birthday. So he's compassionate. So those who have said yes to Krishna, he makes sure that as long as they're in the material world with all his problems, he makes sure that they go through what they need to go through in a good level of peace. We say good level because sometimes if we ourselves invite trouble, well, then we have to deal with whatever that invitation has caused. Sometimes Krishna protects us from even our own mistakes. When you get more and more and more doing service, that you become favored more by the Lord and you become dear to the Lord, then even your own mistakes, things that could cause trouble for us based on what we did wrong, even Krishna steps in and makes a correction before it gets too bad, or sometimes takes us out of it altogether. Complete protection. So when there is friction between his peaceful devotees, so devotees are peaceful. Bhoktara yagya tapasam sva-rūpair Sridam Sava Bhutanam Yato Shanti Mam Richiti. Gyatpamam Shantim Richiti. I'm sorry, I mixed the words. So those who understand Bhoktaram Yagyatapasam, that Krishna, this is the Buddhists, they're thinking. Krishna is the benefactor of all sacrifices and austerities, which means all sacrifices and austerities must be done with the intention of satisfying Krishna's senses. And the person that understands that he is the controller of both the material and spiritual worlds, including all the demigods, and that he is the supreme, wonderful friend of all living entities. Prahlad Maharaj explained that Krishna can take birth not just looking like a human only, but in the other species too. And sometimes we have pastimes where Krishna comes as a fish, Matsya, as a boar, Varaha, like that. And that's just two examples, depending on the pastime that he wants to perform. And it's all very wonderful, because Krishna does superhuman things that many, many people cannot do. He does it, and he does it easily. So he comes to the material world when there is friction between devotees, his devotees, and then persons who are in especially passion and ignorance. So devotees, who is a devotee? They have no hankerings. They have no hankering for material possessions. Therefore, it follows that they have no lamentation. So the devotee doesn't hanker for material possessions. Why? Because the devotee realizes that everything here is temporary. You can get material possessions, but you will have to face the day where it's all going to be taken away, because the physical body itself is going to stop functioning. So a devotee who is wise, they go after things that are permanent. Permanent things are the spiritual things. There's nothing in the material world that's permanent, not even the universe. Even that. When Mahavishnu, the first Purusha, Mahavishnu, he breathes in, all the universes will go back into this transcendental body. So not even the universe lives forever. So we won't. So if material possessions, we just put our minds into that only, then there will be times where we'll be in anxiety because we're going to have to leave it. And even when we're not dead yet, or even not old yet, and we have material possessions, it makes us want more material possessions. And if we haven't gotten that, then we hanker for it. Oh, when will I get this? When will I get that? When will I get this? When will I get that? It's funny how when we want something from the material energy and we finally get it, the satisfaction that comes is very temporary. After a while, it goes away, and then you begin to see that it has brought its own, whatever that thing is, it has brought its own brand of problems that we have to deal with. So the situation in the material world is, the more material possessions that we acquire, the more our anxieties, or the greater our anxieties become. That's why it is advised that the devotee should live a simple life. Not necessarily poor life, no, because that also brings its own lamentations. But you have to live life decent, a decent life, taking what's necessary, and live based on the country that you're in. Some countries, it's a luxury to have a car. But in other countries, especially this country, some people can't even go to work without having a car. So then that's a necessity. So then it becomes important to get that. So it depends where we are. So yes, we have to live life based on the needs. And then Krishna will do the rest, protect us and we chant the holy name of the Lord, and then this is how we prepare to go back. So we shouldn't be like a karmi, hankering to possess some material things. Or gyanis and yogis, they want to protect some, they want to possess some spiritual assets. And even that, it's not the spiritual assets that we are looking for or we are being trained to be involved in. They are looking to merge into the effulgence of the Lord, which is temporary. There too, longer than material life, but it's temporary. And there's no activity in the Brahmajyoti, the effulgence of the Lord, but there is peace. That you will get, but no activity. And the Lord is a wonderful, wonderful person to relate to, personality to relate to, but you can't do that as part of the material, the Brahmajyoti, the effulgence of the Lord. You can't do that. And that's why Srila Prabhupada advises, and some of these people that want to, impersonalists wants to go there, we should never ever think of spending the next life in the effulgence of the Lord. Sometimes we'll meet people that will try to convince us, oh, we know this about spirituality, and then in the end, this is, oh, we have to merge into this, if you hear merger, immediately you know this person is not going to give me what it really takes for my real happiness. So you just excuse yourself, if you know what I mean. So when it's explained here that devotees do not want any material or spiritual assets, that may raise a question. Oh, material we understand because it's temporary, but we don't want spiritual assets? Why is that there? Why do devotees not want spiritual assets when we think that, when we've been trained to understand that we are the soul, we are not the body? Devotees don't want spiritual assets. Lord Chaitanya also says it. Mahad-aṁśa-yukto bhagavān. What does Lord Chaitanya say that he wants? And he's a devotee who is leading us. And he came as a devotee who is leading us to understand what devotee life is. Janmani, birth after birth. Bhagavad Bhakti. Let me be serving you in devotional service. So actually, devotees don't want any spiritual assets, but devotees don't have to hanker for any spiritual assets. It is automatic. When we're serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we are getting spiritual credits anyway. It's not something that we have to go out of our way to try to obtain, just like a material person says, I want this particular type of car, and they work and they scheme to get it. For us, we just serve the Lord. And the spiritual advantages or the spiritual credits are taken care of. So devotees do get spiritual assets, but they don't try to plan for spiritual assets. That's the difference. We just serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead, serve the spiritual master, serve the devotees. And we're taken care of, because in that activity, we will go back to the spiritual world. And of course, all the assets are there. The spiritual assets are there. So it's not a question of having to work for spiritual assets or hanker for them. It's just a question of serving out of our hearts the Supreme Lord as a deity form, because that's what we have now, the spiritual master, representative of Krishna, and the devotees, who are also associates of the Supreme Lord, including those who are planning, those who are growing in the Lord, and those who are already pure. So harassment comes, and it's mostly because of envy, harassment by non-devotees towards devotees. The Rasamuni, the example that Srila Prabhupada gave in the purport, he was a great yogi, a partial incarnation of Lord Shiva. So he had great powers, the Rasamuni. But Maharaj Ambarish was a devotee. And because Maharaj Ambarish had devotee qualities, and the devotee qualities are qualities that are always admired by the citizens in the kingdom of that particular king. The people who were king, the praja, the people who were in the kingdom of Maharaj Yudhishthira, they loved Maharaj Yudhishthira very much. So Maharaj Ambarish also had wonderful qualities. Practically every his senses were all used in serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In fact, it's given in great detail. Everything, for the legs, what he used for eyes, what he used for nose, all of that described in Srimad Bhagavatam, Maharaj Ambarish. So the kingdom citizens loved him very much. Durvas Muni was envious of Maharaj Ambarish just because the popularity Maharaj Ambarish was enjoying. Not that he wanted it, but he was getting it because those in the kingdom liked him that much. And Durvas Muni was thinking, I'm a great yogi. I have so many powers. We can manipulate material energy so much. And I'm not as popular as this Maharaj, this Ambarish person. So he plotted to try to harm Maharaj Ambarish. But that comes to the point about the Lord's compassion and how he takes birth to protect his devotees. Durvas Muni visited Maharaj Ambarish. At the time, Maharaj Ambarish was actually serving the whole kingdom so nicely by fasting to give the credits from the fasting to his people. Now, at the time that that Durvas Muni came, Maharaj Ambarish was close to the end of his fasting. So this is how the situation unfolded. Durvas Muni comes, Maharaj Ambarish receives him very nicely. Then Durvas Muni said he wanted to take a bath because Maharaj Ambarish had asked him to have some prasadam, but he said he wanted to take a bath first and then come have the prasadam. But it was a part of a plot that Durvas Muni had hatched up to disturb Maharaj Ambarish. So Durvas Muni had great mystic powers. He can see from where he is different things going on. It's called the mystic siddhis. He has mystic siddhis like that, mystic powers. So Maharaj Ambarish says, yes, we'll be here. Durvas Muni went into the river to take a bath, wash down, and he deliberately stays gone for a while. The time to break the fast has come for Maharaj Ambarish, and Maharaj Ambarish, by etiquette, understands that you have to feed your visitor first before you take. The visitor is Durvas Muni. Where is Durvas Muni? Durvas Muni has not returned. So Maharaj Ambarish is waiting. The time has come to break his fast so you can get the full benefit of it to give to the citizens. Durvas Muni is in the river. Whether he stayed in the river a long time, the fact is he didn't return to the palace where Maharaj Ambarish was, that everybody was waiting. So Maharaj Ambarish consulted the Brahmins, what should I do in a situation like this? Because I have to break the fast. But I also have a guest, and he has to eat first. So I can't break my fast when the guest has not come. And the guest hasn't come yet. Then they said, take a little chanamrita. The advice given to Maharaj Ambarish, take a little chanamrita. Chanamrita is the water used to bathe the deity of the Lord. So that means you've broken the fast, but in a sense you haven't eaten the whole meal. Maharaj Ambarish did that. Durvas Muni has mystic powers, so from where he was, he could see that Maharaj Ambarish had done that. So he returns, Durvas Muni returns, and he's angry. Why didn't you follow the etiquette? And for that reason, Durvas Muni decided he was going to kill Maharaj Ambarish. But it really wasn't for that reason. The reason was already there. He was envious of Maharaj Ambarish's popularity. with his own the citizens in his kingdom. So what happened? He Durvas Muni plucked hair from his head, one hair, strand of hair, dashed it on the ground. This big demon appeared. And of course, it was obvious that the demon was going to kill Maharaj Ambarish. So Durvas Muni hatched this harassment because he was envious of Maharaj Ambarish. But the Lord always protects his devotees. So right at that time that the demon came, the Sudarshan Chakra of the Lord also came. And the Sudarshan Chakra in front of Durvas Muni and Maharaj Ambarish annihilated, eliminated that demon. So the threat was gone. And now the Sudarshan Chakra turned and came after Durvas Muni himself. And Durvas Muni got scared and started running. The Sudarshan Chakra chased Durvas Muni. The Sudarshan Chakra belongs to the Lord. So this is how the Lord protects his devotee. Durvas Muni could travel to many places in the material and spiritual world. And wherever he went and asked for help, they said, no, we can't help you. He even went to the spiritual world and talked to Lord Vishnu. Lord Narayan, I can't help you, he says, because you have offended my devotee. The only one that can deal with the matter is the one that you have offended. So go back to Maharaj Ambarish. Durvas Muni had been burned quite a bit because the Sudarshan Chakra puts out a lot of heat, and it was chasing Durvas Muni, so it hadn't actually cut Durvas Muni at all, but the heat from it was actually making Durvas Muni suffer as he was trying to run away from it. So he realized that he's been told only Maharaj Ambarish can stop the situation. So Durvas Muni was humbled. He had to come back to Maharaj Ambarish and beg forgiveness. But even so, Maharaj Ambarish said, "But you are my, guests, and why should the guest be apologizing like that? Please sit down and take." And Durvas Muni had apologized. So then the Sudarshan Chakra returned. This is how Durvas Muni's life was saved. This is how Krishna protected his devotee. Hiranyakashipu also like that. His son Prahlad Maharaj was trying very much to help his classmates, even like when he was little, 5 years old, trying to help his classmates to be Krishna conscious. But his father, the big demon Hiranyakashipu, wanted Prahlad Maharaj to be a materialist. Prahlad Maharaj was a devotee. So what happened? Hiranyakashipu got so upset with Prahlad Maharaj that he decided to kill Prahlad Maharaj, who was at the time only 5 years old. Krishna again appeared. Krishna again protected his devotee. Everything that Hiranyakashipu arranged to kill Prahlad Maharaj did not work. Finally, when he, the father, faced his son and asked him, "Where'd you get your powers from? Obviously, you're not dying." And he said, Prahlad Maharaj says, "It comes from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the same place you get your powers from." And that infuriated Hiranyakashipu. Where is the Lord? Where is he? Is he in this pillar? There was a pillar in front of both of them. Prahlad says, yes. Hiranyakashipu takes his sword and destroys the pillar. And sure enough, the Lord definitely wants his devotees' words to come true. So then he came out, half man, half lion. Hiranyakashipu thought that he defeated all the demigods, so he could defeat Shringadev, the Lord as Shringadev, half man, half lion. How wrong he was. As some devotees, some of our gurus tried to describe that the first no anesthesia type surgery took place with Hiranyakashipu. The nails, fingernails of the Lord He used this like chisels. Hiranyakashipu's body was quite hard, but the Sringadev Lord appeared and tore his abdomen up and literally removed his intestines and killed him to protect his devotee. So the Lord appears everywhere for the sake of his devotees when there's friction. So if we stay the course, we don't have to worry about what demons would do. And there are demons right in this world now trying to control things. But as long as devotees do what is necessary, especially the hearing and the chanting, the serving, and also, as we said yesterday, stay away from offending other devotees. Be nice to, and use mild words to deal with anything that we want to describe, not abrasive words. Then you're definitely under the protection of Krishna through his super soul incarnation. So, so there's also another story about how Krishna protected Vasudeva and Ugrasen. And this is in Mathura from Kamsa. Kamsa was a demon, evil king. Ugrasen was the king, and Kamsa deposed him. And he became the king. He was a demon. And he also tried to arrange for marriage between Vasudeva and Devaki. Devaki was related to Kamsa. But at the wedding ceremony was over. They were going to Vasudeva's house, but then he heard there was a voice in the clouds, came from the clouds from above, calling Kamsa a fool, and also that the eighth child from the two of them, Vasudeva and Devaki, would be the cause of his death. And Kamsa heard at that time, in front of everybody, all the celebrations that's going on in the big procession, he pulls out his sword and is about to behead his own sister, Devaki. Vasudeva had to think very quickly and come up with some way to keep Kamsa from doing such a heinous act. But in the end, later, Krishna and Balaram came to Mathura and Kamsa met his end. So again, Krishna protects his devotees. And these are things that we have to remember. First, the peace formula. Bhoktaram yagyatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suhiram sarvabhutanam yatmamam shantim rishchati. A person in full consciousness of Krishna, knowing Krishna to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities, knowing Krishna to be the supreme lord of all the planets and all the demigods, and knowing Krishna to be the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities. If these three things, we know it, then the person will attain peace. And so this is what devotees have to know. To attain peace from material miseries. They don't hanker, they don't lament, none of that. So it's just a question of living that. And when the Lord also comes, this is the last point, he comes with all of his different incarnations, even though we see Krishna's there, but the incarnations are there. Ete-cham sakalapunsham, Krishna's to bhagavān payam, Indari vyakulam lokam, Vadayanti yuge yuge. So the incarnations are there, plenary portions or portions of the plenary portions. Lord Sri Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. And all of these portions appear for different functions when the Lord comes to the material world. So Lord incarnates to protect those who are believing in him, the theists. And the atheists, well, they will go through a situation of difficulty later on and get another physical body and go through all the problems that the material world causes. So our best bet is to definitely stay Krishna conscious, find ourselves, regard ourselves as extremely fortunate. Everybody that's Krishna conscious says yes to Krishna is extremely fortunate. Stay the course, grow in Krishna consciousness, And then the time will come where for us, in this particular society, Goloka Vrindavan or Krishna Loka, the most wonderful planet of all planets in existence. The spiritual planet, the biggest planet, the one that has the greatest variety of relationship with Krishna, and among the devotees also. We get a chance to go there and live forever in that place. The body doesn't get old, the body would not get sick, the body would not get hungry, the body would not have to go to school and learn anything. All knowledge is there. This is Krishna. This is the Krishna Loka is a great, great, great example of the compassion and the greatness of Krishna. And that's where Srila Prabhupada is taking us. We're very fortunate. Just spread the news and get other people to be Krishna conscious, and you'd be that yourself. And that time will come. Just a little patience. This life is not long at all. It will get there. Srila Pariksit. Hare Krishna. So this is the time for questions or comments. And I see dear Krishna Prabhu has already raised his electronic hand. So please go ahead. Accept my humble obeisances.
Krishna
All glory to
Prabhu,
Srila
accept my humble obeisances, all to Srila Prabhupada. I was eager to raise my hand, and
Prabhupada.
it was a beautiful,
That's
beautiful,
good.
beautiful class.
Krishna's
Very,
mercy.
very, very hopeful and very peace giving, like the peace Bhavana. So,
Mm.
my question, Prabhu, is so the point that one who says yes to Krishna, he's on the path way to Krishna, back to
Yes.
home. So, practically, it's very easy to say yes to Krishna because we know he's not directly reciprocating, and we are not really at that level, or I'm not at that level where I can sense his reciprocation when I say yes to him. It may come occasionally, that reciprocation, but it's very difficult to say yes to his representative who are coming to us to give the instructions. And we forget, or I forget most of the times, they're actually Krishna's instructions, and very difficult to say yes because then we have to, deal with those instructions practically. We have to take some actions, so there is some
Yeah.
effort there.
Mm-hmm.
So, point I'm trying to ask is, it's very easy to serve Krishna, but very difficult to serve the instructions of uh, spiritual masters or senior devotees, advanced devotees. So,
Mm-hmm.
how can we realize that, and if we are really sincere and work upon it? So maybe you can provide some points. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Very good question. So we see Krishna as a deity. And we are in front of him in Arctic time, and we are singing and definitely worshiping the Lord. So those are there. But when it comes to sometimes his representative or senior devotees who have our welfare at heart and trying to guide us, then sometimes we don't want to take the instructions. Well, there is a term for that, but I won't even use it now because it might even sound demeaning. But we'll get to the answer right away. And that is everyone that is trying to give us instruction on what to do about spiritual life ultimately is helping us. So it boils down to, as Raghunath Das Goswami says, mana shiksha, instructions to the mind. This is for my own good. This is for my own good. That should be a mantra for the mind. This is for my own good. What I'm hearing is for my own good. Krishna, another point, the second point is, Krishna says, Tad vidhi panipatena paripashnena sevaya. He says, approach a spiritual master, inquire submissively from him, and render service to him. Krishna said that. So the Krishna that we are giving such reverence to has said, go to the spiritual master. So our reverence has to be a mature type of reverence. And a mature reverence to the Lord means Not just worshiping the Lord, but doing what he has said to do. And he has said, Guru didn't come and say, oh, I want to be the leader, everybody should follow me. No. Krishna says, approach Guru. I have given the knowledge, the requisite knowledge to Guru. Approach him. So again, this is instruction to the mind. It's because of the Krishna that I want to worship, because he has said to go to Guru, that I have to go to Guru. And when you go to Guru and hear from him and ask him questions, then what he asks you to do, you must do. Because Guru, again, another instruction to the mind, is representing Krishna. So how we relate to Guru is taken as how we're going to relate to Krishna. Therefore, we cannot play with our relationship with Guru. Again, it all comes down to the instruction to the mind. This is why we're doing what we're doing. The aim, the final conclusion is to get a chance to go back home. And boy, that is a huge, huge statement. Going back home is pleasure plus, 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 plus. So many arrangements. In one part of the bhagavān, we read this in the same canto, in the same chapter, actually, but the earlier texts. Incredible, unlimited arrangements are made for the pleasure of the devotees of the Lord, the living entities in the spiritual world. Unlimited. So we talk about Krishna being the source of all pleasure. Yes. But Krishna is not the one that's taking the pleasure, everything, like in a selfish way. Krishna is not selfish. Everyone that serves Krishna enjoys wonderfully. Here in the material world, especially in this particular society we're in, we're practicing how to get to that level where we will have that ananda, ananda or bliss, the highest happiness that can ever be. So it boils down to, an answer to your question is, these are points to dictate to the mind that, my dear mind, this is what it is. Here's Guru's aim. Here's Guru's position. Guru's position is established by Krishna. And if I want to worship Krishna, I must do what Krishna says to do. So he says, approach Guru, I must approach Guru. Inquire submissively, I have to inquire submissively. I have to render service because Krishna says to do that. And service to the devotees, so also trying to help. And finally, our relationship with all devotees is the practice for the relationship we're going to have with the living entities in the spiritual world. You cannot practice how to live in the spiritual world by relating to non-devotees. It's another way of looking at it, the other way. Because non-devotees don't think about God and don't do the things that you do. They are into sense gratification, where you stay away from sense gratification. So it is the devotees of the Lord that when we relate to them, we will also get purified. And therefore, as I said earlier, it boils down to reminding the mind, talking to the mind. My dear mind, you have to help me. We have to get out of the material world. I will continue to suffer if I stay in the material world life after life. Right now, I'm in a human body. Very fortunate situation. Because if I was in the body of a cockroach or a dog, I wouldn't even understand any of this. And now, I'm in a human body, so this is the time. And Krishna is so merciful. I've said yes to Krishna, and now Krishna is making it all available for me. So my dear mind, don't be a saboteur. Obey what Krishna says. Speaking to the mind is very important. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Very, very, very useful. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Any other questions or comments? Some people may think, oh, but it's my own mind. How do you speak to the mind? You'll be surprised. So much so that I know my Guru Maharaj said this. Treat the mind like another stranger. Treat the mind like a stranger that's come to you. If a stranger approaches you, what do? You just start, oh, how wonderful that you have come. Of course, no, you don't do that. First thing when strangers come, you get curious. What does this person want? maybe I'll be able to help, but I need to know what this person is about first before I do anything. So the way we act towards strangers is the way we should act towards the mind, because we are not the mind, we're the soul. So the mind is coming to give us something, going to suggest something. That should be something that we weigh first with the thought, is this good for my spiritual life? If it's yes, then you adopt it. If not, then of course you don't. So we treat the mind like a stranger. And then we have a conversation with the mind, because you can have a conversation with the stranger, inquiring what he's about. Hare Krishna. Any other
I
questions?
really like that point, Prabhu, that simple question, is it good for my Krishna conscious life? Is this good for my relationship with Krishna and his devotees? That's wonderful. Just very simple point. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Glory to my Guru Maharaj. He's the one that actually made us think about things that way. Glory to Guru and Guranga. Any final questions or comments? If not, then we thank you very much. This is the weekend, of course. So have a wonderful Krishna conscious day and weekend. And for those of us close to the temple, please come. And wherever you are in your temple, close to the closest temple, the Hare Krishna temple, please go there and associate with the devotees. Vanchakapatarubhyasya kripa sindhivya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you again.